to episode 4 of my video podcast about my passion for yarn and knitting. I am Ina and I am coming to you from the beautiful autumnal Norway. I live here in a little town in the midden part of the country with my husband and my 3 kids. A warm welcome to you all. If you are a new viewer or if you have watched before, I appreciate you all, for sure. I have to say that I am pretty amazed that so many of you have found this podcast and that you seem to like it, and I really hadn't dreamt of having so many viewers and subscribers after this short period of time. So, and I haven't mentioned this before, but I'm not going to apologize, but I feel like I have to just put out a disclaimer about my language, because, well, English is obviously not my native language, let's put it like that. So I do the best I can. I don't speak English very often, and I could do with some more practice. And I am fully aware that I keep saying those annoying so's and ums, and I'm really trying to keep that at a minimum, but I have a way to go. So thank you so much for sticking with me, even though I have this strange accent and struggle a bit finding the right words. Anyway, there has been a couple of busy weeks. We have been traveling, we have been shopping yarn, I have been knitting a lot and enjoying the wonderful fall weather. We have actually had a bit of an Indian summer, I guess. The temperatures have been above 20 degrees Celsius, and we are having the most wonderful weather at the moment. I can definitely feel that we are getting into the colder months, because even though the temperature can be quite pleasant and warm, there seems to always be like a cold draft in the air. So, but I like that a lot, so it doesn't bother me. I also have a giveaway to announce this time. I am so touched by all of your love and nice feedback on my knitting and on my podcast, and that I have reached over 700 subscribers is absolutely crazy. So to give something back to one of you, I am giving away some goodies from my stash, so please stick around for the end if you're interested. Okay, so I think this episode will be in a kind of a Scandinavian theme. I am, of course, in Norway. I am knitting a lot of Norwegian stuff, but this time I have been visiting Copenhagen. I went there this last weekend with a couple of friends. I've been there sometimes before, but I have actually never visited a yarn shop in Copenhagen. So that was a lot of fun. I will show you my stash from Copenhagen later on in this episode, because that's not all of the stash building that I have to show for this time. I am going to start off with some finished objects, and I have actually 3 finished objects for you today. I didn't think I would be able to finish so much, but I got a lot of knitting done on the plane and in my travel to Copenhagen. But I would like to start off by showing you my Mebonden mitts, or mittens. Are they not beautiful? So these are Mebonden. The pattern is by Skeindeer Knits, and these are the first installment of her Selbu Mitten Club. I know that I have previously said that these were the second mitten in the club and that her Selbu mittens were the first ones, but I think the Selbu mittens are just a bonus pattern and these are the actual first installment of the club. So what to say about these? They are knit in Rauma 3-ply strick yarn or knit yarn. So it's a non-superwash wool in DK weights. I knitted them in 3.5mm needles, and that is because I knit quite loosely. So I knit the first pair in 4mm and they became a bit large. So there's no doubt that this pair is much denser, and I think for mittens I liked the fabric of these more than the previous pair. So yeah, I love them very much, and I am very tempted to keep them myself because I love the color combination of this ochre yellow and light green, no, light grey. But I am in need of Christmas gifts, so I will just put them in my gift basket, and we shall see if I end up giving them away or not. I have made one mistake in this pattern. It's not very visible because I did the same mistake on both mittens. But it is on the tongue increases. They're not supposed to look like this at all. The pattern is completely different, but I discovered my mistake a bit late on the first mitten, and I just went with it. I think it looked nice anyway. So yeah, one pair of mitten done. The next pair of mittens in the Selbu Mitten Club by Skeindeer Knits is coming out October 1st. So next week I will probably cast on that next pair, because I'm planning to knit all of the pairs in her club. Yay! So second finished object is the Sockhead cowl. This is a pattern by Kelly McClure, and it is a very simple, straightforward knitting project that is essentially just 10 centimeters of ribbing, Then you continue in stockinette stitch in the round and finish off with the same amount of ribbing on the top. And this is then going to be a quite fitted cowl, I would say. I will try to put it on for you. And it says in the pattern that you can choose if you want to hold it double or yeah. I think I prefer to have the ribbing some way like this maybe. And it's not too tight. It's quite pleasant to have on. And I think I will get a lot of wear out of this. I don't have anything like it in my wardrobe, and I use a lot of scarves and shawls and yeah, like that during the winters here. So I think this will be perfect. Maybe for hiking or just to put it inside my coat when I need something to warm around my neck. So I do enjoy it. And it was, of course, extremely easy to knit up. Perfect like TV knitting or knitting on the plane or knitting while having conversations with friends. So yeah. So I have used 100 gram skein of Tweedy Todd. The base is called Sock med snurr. I don't unfortunately know what the colorway name is because it doesn't say on the label. But I bought it last year and I couldn't see that particular colorway in their shop anymore. So maybe they're not dyeing it anymore. But it is like pale grey, pale pinks, oranges, and some bright pinks. Or purples, I guess. Yeah. And it is knit on 3mm needles. Okay. My last finished object is socks. So these are the Novita Nalle socks, made out of a souvenir yarn that I bought in Helsinki 2 years ago. So it took me about 1 year to knit up the first sock. I think probably the main reason why it took me so long was that I didn't find the combination of yarn and needles very pleasant. The yarn is quite sturdy and toothy, I believe someone calls it, or scratchy, I would say. But they make excellent socks, so I think I will be using these a lot. Or when I say I mean me or one of my daughters, because we are quite close in shoe size at the moment. So that is both a blessing and a curse. Because I'm not having my things for myself anymore. Okay, but the second sock I knit up in, I think it was 2 or 2.5 weeks. and I think when I left for Copenhagen this weekend, I had knitted from the cuff and down to... I was not to the heel yet. And then the rest of the sock just zoomed by. It went so quickly. And I grafted the toe on Saturday in the afternoon. So, but then I had changed the needles because when I went to Copenhagen, I had this project on some metal DPNs, and I didn't want to risk it when I was taking the plane. So I changed to some rosewood needles, and that made this sock so much more pleasant to knit. Note to self for later project like this. So yes, I'm very happy to finally have finished this pair. So now I can cast on something else. Works in progress. Okay, so I am knitting the fall coat from a pattern made by Pickles. And the yarn is also mainly Pickles yarn in their merino tweed and silk mohair. One strand of each. So I'm knitting these out of leftovers from previous projects. And last time I showed you this, I had knitted from the top and down to this progress keeper. I've only added like 10 centimeters on the length since last time. And it's not that easy to show you this. Okay, so the main reason why I have not completed this yet is because I ran out of tweed yarn. I knew, of course, that would happen, and but no worries, because I have a lot of tweed yarn, but it is inside of this jacket. This is a cable jacket that I knitted some years ago, and it is a disaster. I didn't check my gauge. I knitted it too tight and it doesn't fit at all. It's just, it's not possible to wear, and the sweater is made out of 3 strands. It is made out of 2 strands of this tweed, merino tweed yarn, and 1 strand of some DK alpaca. In order to make more progress on my new fall coat, I have to unravel not all of the other jacket, but I have to unravel some to get enough tweed yarn in order to finish off my fall coat. So that is why the project just stopped. So yeah, but it is still a work in progress, and I am intending to finish this, yeah, quite soon, I hope. I am knitting these on one of my favorite interchangeable needles. These are the Knit Picks Dreams. They are wooden needles, but they are quite smooth, and I am enjoying these so much. My only I have only this small interchangeable set, and I am thinking that for Christmas I might wish for the complete set. So these are 4.5 millimeter needles. Wonderful. Okay, second whip at the moment is a test knit that I am doing for Julie Bleuw. She's a German designer, and I believe that this is one of her first designs. It's a beautiful poncho-like pullover that is named Blue Explorer. I discovered Julia not too long ago, I guess during the summer. Her Instagram account is wonderful. She's taking beautiful pictures, and she's very into blue. So hence the name Blue Explorer, I believe. So the sweater is knit top down in bulky weight yarn, and the design features these stripes that are in a kind of a gradient, and I am not too far away from dividing the body and the sleeves, and yeah, so I'm enjoying this project because, I mean, knitting in bulky weight yarn is going quite fast, but at the same time it is very hard for my back, so I need to take a break from this project, at least for today or and tomorrow, because I'm actually having some back pains at the moment on the upper part of my back. So I guess when I'm knitting with thicker needles and thicker yarn, I tend to put more force into each stitch, and for some reason I use a lot of my muscles behind my shoulders. Yeah. Okay, but the yarn I'm using is Pickles again. They're tweedy base, and I'm very pleased to knit with this because this yarn has been lying around in my stash for some time. I bought it on one of the Pickles sales some time ago. It is tweedy, which is a non-superwash wool. And that is one thing that is very fascinating when you knit with tweedy or the merino tweed that I'm using in the fall coat, is that you can really feel that this has not been processed a lot. It is new wool, and even though it doesn't have the smell that untreated wool can have, it is quite full of things that you can find in the sheep's fur, like straws and like wooden pieces, and you know, so I just pick it out, and then I continue knitting, and then I find another little straw, bit of straw, and pick that out. I enjoy that very much. And as it's not treated before, it will soften beautifully when I wash it later on. I am holding the yarn together with one strand of Holst Super Soft, and the reason for that is I didn't like the fabric with the gauge I was supposed to have using this yarn alone, but when I hold it together with this very fine super soft wool, it is perfect. And the colors are quite close as well, so I think they are a perfect match. And this is the Super Soft from Holst in the Bullfinch color. Yes. And again, I'm using my Dreams from Knit Pro. Interchangeable needles. Love them. I'm very happy to say that this time I have some progress to show for with the peace sweater that I'm knitting for my mom. And this is what it looks like so far. So I guess I'm up to the elbow approximately on the first sleeve. And last time I showed you this was at this marker here. So I've knitted quite a bit. I love the pattern. It is beautiful, but it is hard work to do this. And it's hard work especially because I'm knitting in superwash baby wool. The yarn is quite smooth and not slippery, but it is way more smooth than the non-superwash wool. And therefore, I guess that the fabric is not that forgiving, if you know what I mean. So I keep pulling and stretching and correcting the tension and the floats very often when I knit. And that is absolutely essential when knitting a garment like this with all those, all this pattern. And even though I do that, I'm not 100% pleased with how it looks, but I think that most of this will even out when I give it a good bath and let it soak, and I will stretch it and block it out. So my plan is to finish up this first sleeve. We are going to visit my parents' cabin in in 1.5 weeks. So I'm hoping that I will be able to complete the first sleeve by then, and then I will bring it to my mom and make her try it on and see if we need to do some adjustments before I continue with the second sleeve. I will probably not show you this project for some time now, because I don't see the point in bringing it to the podcast and showing my small progress every time. If you're interested, this is the wool that I'm using, and that is the wool that is the pattern is written for. It is Dale baby ull or baby wool, and it is the color 0010 and 3841. My final whip is a pair of toe-up socks that I just had to cast on immediately after I received these brand new needles and this brand new yarn. The yarn is Crazy Zauberball from Shopperwolle. I have knitted with Crazy Zauberball numerous times, and I love their marled effect yarn. I just can't get enough of it, apparently. And I think they make excellent socks. I never, or almost never, knit toe-up socks. I always knit cuff down, and that is because I like the finishing of the cuff, or rather the cast-on edge, better when I knit them cuff down. I don't seem to have a good way of binding off the cuffs, and that is obviously something I need to do when I'm knitting toe up. But anyway, I just had this idea that I wanted to try on a toe up sock again, and I googled on YouTube and I found a video on how to cast on, is it Judy or Jody? Yeah, I will put it on the screen, but that was an excellent video and a nice way to start toe up socks. So I put in a scrap yarn for the heel. I'm doing the Afterthough heel again. And I have on this a beautiful little Progress Keeper stitch marker from Corner of Craft. I found it just appropriate to have a little sock on my sock. Okay, so the needles are higher sharps 2.25 millimeters, and the Crazy Zauberball is I have the label here. It's their Route 66 colorway. So that is something I just recently purchased from Garn Cardigan. That is a Swedish web shop where I tend to buy all of my needles because they have an excellent selection of needles that I enjoy. So I also bought a couple of Addy sock rockets in some other sizes. And that leads us over to stash building. I have been buying things and getting things lately. So I wanted to share that with you. I am really focusing on using my stash. I've been doing that for months, and now I actually are seeing that the stash is reducing, and I have therefore been allowing myself to make some more additions. And the first thing I want to show you is a couple of skeins I bought from Countess Ablaze. And I bought yarn from them before, and I really love their yarn, and they have such beautiful colors. But this time I actually went for something more muted. And this is grey in their blue face Baron fingering base, and it is Grey Skies in Manchester. This is their BFL nylon sock base, and it is called Low Teens One of a Kind. This is my purchase from Copenhagen. And I can be quite efficient because this was just after being inside the shop for 15-20 minutes. I visited Uldstedet, and I was actually looking for some Danish sock yarn because I wanted to have some souvenir socks from Copenhagen as well, but I didn't manage to find something. They had some opals, but that is German, so I didn't want to buy that. But what I found was some merino yarn from Jelholts Ullspinneri, and it is very, very soft. I am amazed that this is actually untreated wool. And I'm thinking a kofta or a cardigan of some sorts. So I bought 3 skeins of this teal-ish color. And I also bought a light pink and a light grey. And then when in Copenhagen and Denmark, I of course had to buy some Isager yarn. So I bought her Highland wool. In these 4 colors, and I have 4 skeins of this burgundy red. This is slightly thinner than the merino yarn, but it is still fingering. So I'm also thinking sweater-ish with some color work as well on this one. I bought my first gradient, and this is some Italian wool from Lanes du Nord, and it is 150 grams, 600 meters. So maybe I can do a scarf or some kind of a smaller shawl. That's what I'm thinking with this. The last thing I bought on Uldstedet is this yarn, and it is DK worsted, no, it's DK weight, and it is called Sømannsgarn, and it is untreated 100% wool. So I'm thinking I might be using this for the next pair of sailor mittens. The last stash building I wanted to share is in this cute bag, and it is a package that I received from Sweden. I have been partaking in the Fibreshare this year, and Fibreshare is like a program or a community where you are assigned a partner and you send fiber, or in my case yarn, and other goodies to another person. And I sent a package to a Danish lady living in Sunde, and I was so fortunate to receive a wonderful package from another lady living in Sweden. And I got 3 skeins of fantastic colored yarn. I mean, these colors are making me so happy. I can't stop looking at them. And there are 3 different yarns. The bottom one here in the like cherry red with some oranges and some greys is Uruguayan hand-dyed yarn. This is the tag. And it's a single ply fingering weight. This is a yarn from Greta and the Fibers. Greta and the Fibers. And it's a sock yarn with merino and polyamide. The bright pink is Plucky Knitter single merino silk. I know, it's my first Plucky Knitter, and I absolutely love it. And this has to be made into a shawl of some kind. Maybe with this one? This one? I know. So many knitting plans and so little time. Last time I mentioned a couple of video podcasts that I recently discovered and have been enjoying watching. And this time I really wanted to focus on all of the wonderful Norwegian podcasts that are out there. And these are podcasts that I have been watching for a long time and that has given me loads of inspiration over the past years. And for now I'm thinking I'm only going to mention the English-speaking video podcasts. Because there's obviously a lot of wonderful Norwegian-speaking podcasts as well. The very first I want to recommend to you is A Wee Bit Knitty. And that is by the lovely Lena. She's living far south in Norway. And I have been following her blog and her knitting for many years. And she is so talented and excellent color choices and excellent projects. And she was one of the first video podcasts that I discovered. Secondly, I can recommend Patricia, who has the video log called Knitography. And she is here in the middle part of the country, and she's not far away from me geographically. And she is doing some video logs where she combines beautiful sceneries, nature, and a lot of wonderful knitting. So I highly recommend you checking her out if you are into the combination of nature and beautiful knitting. There are 2 podcasts in the north of the country, and they are both knitters and designers as well. The first one is Arctic Knitting, and the woman behind it is Emilia, and I am truly amazed of what that woman can achieve in a short amount of time. she is dyeing beautiful yarn. She's knitting a lot, and she's out and about with her little boy and hiking in the mountains, and she's even arranged a knitting festival in her hometown in Narvik, and I don't know how she does it all, but that woman has a lot of energy, so I can definitely recommend her as well. As Nordic Stitches, and that is a lady called Lily. She's also living in the north in Stockmarknes, and she's combining beautiful scenery. She is sometimes podcasting outdoors, and that is very inspiring as well. And she's designing beautiful things as shawls and socks and hats, I believe. And yeah, she's very inspiring. The last podcast I want to mention is Hege's podcast called Cloudberry Knits. So Hege is living far, far north in Troms, and I have been following her for a long, long time through her Instagram account and through her blog, and now through her fairly new video podcast. And she's also very like knitting a lot of things, and I'm just amazed of how much she's actually knitting for herself and her family. So really, really inspiring podcast. So that was a lot of inspiration, and if you are in the lookout of other Norwegian English-speaking podcasts, these are on my recommendation list, definitely. If you know of other podcasts in that same category, please let me know, because I would love to check them out. Knitting plans. On Friday, the 29th of September, the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along Speckle and Pop will start. So guess what I am knitting this weekend? I showed you my yarn for that project last time, and I will put in a picture here so you can see. I'm very curious to see what Stephen West has put together for this year's mystery knit along. The other plan is to cast on my Egwin mitts, and that is for the Halloween knit along that Nordic Stitches is hosting in her Ravelry group. Giveaway time! I am giving away 2 balls of Kirkcaldy 2-ply from Molson & Moore. They are both 50 gram, they are in DK weight, and they are non-superwash wool. And they are perfect for the silver mittens that I have been knitting. And this is the very same yarn that I used for my first pair, the actual Selby mittens. The color is blåbær, or blueberry in Norwegian. And these 2 balls would be enough for a pair of mittens in one color, or you can pair them with a contrasting color and make 2 pairs of mittens. I'm also giving away some lovely stitch markers. These are made by Knitting I Love. If you would like a chance of winning this yarn and these progress keepers, please let me know in the comments below this video what you would like to knit with this yarn. So that's it for this episode. I hope you liked what you saw, and if you did, please push like on this video on YouTube and subscribe if you would like a notification when a new episode is out. So have a beautiful rest of September and happy knitting! Bye bye!